I don't use that language anymore. Someone says, stab me in the back, or show me the scars, right? What'd they really do? Well, they stole some money from me, or most times they told somebody something I told them not to tell them, and they stabbed you in the back. The reason I say that is our language creates a biochemical change in us. And it's good to become aware of the language used, because some of it is dilabating, or breaking down, I should say, your ability to make progress. But no, early in my business, I had people steal from me. I didn't know how to recruit the right people. First I recruited people that I thought were my friends, and they were, but they were incompetent. Then I recruited people that weren't my friends, but were competent, but they had no integrity. I had, as the example I just gave you, one of my partners in business, left me with a $150 million bill when I had that much money. But the beautiful thing was I figured out how to get through it, pay it off, make it happen. My level of growth, it's like I look at whatever problem there is, it's gonna stay a problem until you have a spiritual breakthrough. Sounds corny, but an insight, a strategy, you build a different muscle. And I've done that so many times at this stage, it's there. In intimate relationships, no one tells you how to pick your partner. So, I married a woman early on, and I really didn't want to get married, but I didn't want her to feel hurt. She was sad, and I married her, right? And really good human being, and instantly had 3 children. So it was a beautiful gift. I stayed 14 years till the kids were gone, and then I finally, at 39, said, I don't want to enter another decade this way, and let's stay friends, let's end this. And, I thought it'd be an easy thing to do, and it wasn't. She was very upset that it was ending, and I went through all of those pieces. But every one of those experiences, when I've suffered, when I've experienced financial challenges, emotional challenges, physical challenges, I had a day where a doctor calls me and tells me you got a tumor in your brain. That alters you. I buried 4 fathers and, 1 mother. It alters you. But through all of that, you develop a clarity about what's really most important in your life. And you learn to let go of all the bullshit and stop making it an excuse for you to be upset. Because I just believe life is too short to live pissed off, to live worried, to live frustrated. And so you learn, you move on, and you become better. That's really what I've done.
Is it as easy as that?
It's not easy at all. It's horrible. It's tough. It's grinds your soul. Yeah. I don't want to give you the illusion I think it's easy, but the more you do it, the easier it gets, because you develop the wiring.
Did you hold on to grudges at one point?
I'm not my wife will tell you, sometimes she's been frustrated with me because I'm a pretty forgiving guy. I love people, but I'm not stupid anymore. It's like the frog and the scorpion story, I'm sure you know. It's like, I look at what somebody's nature is. And so, I have people I have a friend that did some pretty horrible things years ago. I'm still friends with him, but I might see him once a year. I don't have him in my life every single day. So it's still being intelligent.
The world constantly reinforces you that you're supposed to instantly get what you want. And if you don't, you should be frustrated. That's the online instant world we live in, and it's about to get worse. But if you've got that focus, the target, and you got the toolbox, and you're still not getting what you want, it's because you got inner conflicts. That's the third pillar. You've got to resolve your inner conflicts. Because as I try to explain to you, 80% of success in anything is your psychology, and 20% is the mechanics. So those inner conflicts are when you take 2 steps forward and you pull 3 steps back. Right? When you say, boy, I'm totally committed to this, but you don't follow through. This is my expertise, the why guy part. Why? Why do you keep saying you want this? You have crystal clarity, you have the tools, and you're still not getting it. There's a conflict in you. You want to be totally successful, but you're afraid at some level that if you are totally successful, you will not be loved. You'll be rejected. You want to be in a position where you have total free time and you want to build a billion-dollar enterprise. These are conflicts. You really, truly know you got the tools and talents to make this happen, but a part of you doesn't think you deserve to succeed because it's something you did at some point in your life or something you made up. Or you think making money or being successful economically is not spiritual. And you're committed to being spiritual, and yet the other part of you, it's the inner conflicts between fighting parts. So what do we do in this third pillar? Think of it as a vault we got to unlock. Think of it as unlock and unleash. That's the third pillar. The way you unlock and unleash is you identify the conflicts. You get clear what they are. So you may have total clarity, even the tools, but how can you totally unleash and commit when you're being pulled in 2 different directions? You say, Tony, how do I solve that? There isn't one way. You've got to get clear about what's most important to you today, not what you think you should do based on an old blueprint, an old belief system, your parents, society, your friends. Otherwise you'll succeed, and not be fulfilled. So once you identify the conflicts, now what you got to do is align. Align your life with what you really value. Align your life with what is most important to you. And then once you are in a position where you're aligned, guess what you'll do? Take action. You won't even have to work at it. When everything's in alignment, there's nothing pulling you away, boom, you go for it. But when you say, I want a relationship, but at the same time, simultaneously, I want to be in a position where, I never have to, I only get what I want every moment, or I never have to commit to anything, then obviously you're never going to get there. That inner conflict must be resolved. Once you align and you take action, guess what's going to happen? You're going to achieve. And once you achieve, you succeed. When you succeed, I'll tell you what you got to add to it. Celebrate, right? And then contribute. Pay it forward, if you will, as corny as that sounds. Remember the movie? Pay it forward, don't pay it back. Take what you've got, what you've learned, and bring it to someone else. And if you bring it to someone else, it continues that cycle of fulfillment, of joy, of meaning in your life. Everything works. The more you can cultivate that sense of wealth, that sense of abundance in you, the more you can feel that sense of joy, the more easy it's going to be for you to do financially. Because you're not going to be in this scarce, fearful mode. Now, that's not enough by itself. You can have this great sense of abundance and do the wrong mechanics and be a disaster. True or false? But if they have an area to get you started with, you want to have the emotion and psychological strength, because that's going to carry you through when the mechanics are boring or frustrating, or when things aren't working out. Your emotion, your psychology is what will carry you. It'll get you to keep doing it. Everyone knows, if you've done any studies, Dr. Seligman is very famous for doing studies on optimism. And in those studies, you know what he found out? People that are pessimists are much more realistic. They're much more accurate. If you give them a test and you ask them to look at something and give you a size measurement of it, or to evaluate their own success or failure at a task, in every study Seligman's done, he did it in the University, I think Pennsylvania, if I remember correctly, originally, what he found was that optimists always see themselves as doing better than they really did. They basically BS themselves. What happens to pessimists, they're 10 times more accurate. But here's what he found out. What he found out is because the people who are accurate never push themselves because they know it's never going to work anyway. Whereas the optimist sees it better than it is, so they keep doing it. Because they have the illusion they did well, I'll do even better next time. And because of that optimism, they did it more often, and so optimists succeed at a 4 to 5-fold, depending upon the task, result ultimately beyond anything that a pessimist will do, and they're not as accurate. All that's a big way of saying is, if you can develop a psychology of resilience in yourself, you don't have to be optimistic or fake, you can be real. The realness is, whatever shows up, you are larger than anything that can happen to you. You are larger than any financial challenge you could ever face. Who here has gone through a very tough financial time where you didn't know how you were going to pull it off, but eventually you did? How many have done this before? Say I. How many have had this happen more than once in your life? Say I. Then the true history could guide you to know you can get through this and not let you be overwhelmed by the moment. But also the gratitude can put you in that sense of wealth. Fijians are wealthy. Whenever I bring friends there, we have 325 acres and 3 miles of ocean frontage. It's unbelievable. But you go up these 2 villages, and my friends initially will say, well, look at their houses, look at their homes, and they don't really have electricity, they don't have this, but they don't feel poor. It's your identity. The way you define the wealth determines whether you're wealthy or not. So are there enough things for you, knowing that 2/3 of the planet lives on $2 a day, that you could get yourself to really feel grateful, yes or no? Yes. How much of your life do you get benefits from today that you never had to create? Think about it. Like I said, the roads you ride on, the library, the books you didn't have to write, right? The internet that you can access in seconds and get answers to just about anything. The people in your life that you didn't have to raise, but are there for you. Think about all the different aspects of your life. If you want to be wealthy, all you have to do is associate. So before we do the financial part, because financial independence is different than wealth. Wealth is that state of mind. Financial independence is being in that position where you don't ever have to work again. That if you work, you do it because you really want to. Now, I'll give you a clue. If you get financially independent and you don't work, you'll be miserable. I can't tell you how many friends I have that sold their company, made $50 million. One man made almost $1 billion and was really excited for a while. But after a while, it was like bored. His vehicle of his business gave him a sense of contribution and He was always growing, figuring out how to solve problems, and he had all the people he was connected to in the business, all the employees and friends and associates, and he was significant because he was doing something worthwhile. And he had tremendous certainty because he knew the business, and also variety because it's always changing. And now he had this money. So the real secret is to be financially free, to be financially independent. You want to get where you never have to work again, but you do. Because you want to. That's when life gets very cool. When you don't have to work, but you want to, you often work harder. I enjoy my life today. I don't have to work. That's one of the most killer experiences in life. So I want to tell you, I'm not just saying this as some little positive thinking technique. I'm telling you, this is the secret, the real secret, to shift it inside of you and to add the real value. Most people are trying to pursue something in the future that they already have. I want you to think of what it is you think you want that will make you wealthy or financially free. Is this making sense to you? Do you see why I'm so intense about this? Because I don't want you to go through and get more money and have plenty of money and still not be happy, still not be fulfilled. Until you define the game in winnable ways, you never win. And you chase it, and you die chasing it. That is not to say you shouldn't take your life to a whole nother level financially and have greater choices and greater ways to give gifts, but don't wait. And if you don't wait, if you can own that you're already wealthy, I can promise you you'll get to a level of riches financially 10 times faster than with the identity you have of limitation. Does that make sense? That's the essence of what I'm talking about here. Let's talk about money now, not wealth. Do we agree? All those wealthy in this room right now, say aye. And if you really have done what we have, you're not just saying that as some verbalization, you can really feel it. You can feel abundant, you can feel wealthy. From that place, what does it take mechanically to get this thing called financial independence? And what is financial independence as opposed to wealth? Wealth is a product of the mind. Again, no amount of money you ever achieve will make you wealthy. Gratitude will, and living a life where you know you're contributing, adding value will. That's what's gonna make you feel wealthy. Where you're a giver, not a taker. That doesn't mean you can't receive, but someone who's always looking at what am I getting out of every single thing they do is always poor, because they live in scarcity. But if you want to be financially independent, that's different. Financial independent means you never have to work again in order to live your life. That when you do work, you're doing it because you really want to, not because you have to. And how many are committed to not only being wealthy, but also financially independent? Say, aye. How do we get there? Let me give you the lesson how to get there. It is so simple that when I tell you, you're gonna go, thank you for the breakthrough thought. But even though you may know this intellectually, whether you're sophisticated or not, you probably know this. Focusing on this is the difference. Can you be a person who is honest in your values and not be honest in the moment? Yes or no? Can you be a loving person but not be loving in this moment? Yes or no? Why? Because whatever you focus on, where focus goes, energy flows. So I don't care how sophisticated you are or unsophisticated. If you put focus in what we're gonna put in front of you right now, even if you knew it before, you may know it cognitively, but you haven't linked enough emotion to be doing it consistently, or if you are and you're here, you obviously wanna do it more and better. And what we're talking about right now is financial wealth, not just wealth as it sense, as an emotion, as a sense. If you wanna be financially independent, the formula for financial independence is so simple. And you can't achieve financial abundance unless you really learn to apply this, not just in a concept in your head, but consistently in your life. And that formula is simple. Spend less than you what? You go, thank you for the breakthrough thought, Tony. But is this what most people do, yes or no? No, what do most people spend? More than they earn. There's no way around this. No matter how much money you have, if you spend more than you earn, you got a challenge. So there's no way to be financially free, financially independent without spending less than you earn. And what do you got to do with what you don't spend? You got to invest the difference. Because what I want to show you right now is how do you build what everybody should own. Every one of you should leave here with your own personal money machine. You want to create a money machine. A machine that while you're sleeping is making you money. Right? So you're no longer trading the most valuable resource you have in life, your time, for money. You want to trade money for money. You want money to go to work. You want to put that money to work for you so while you're sleeping it's making a difference. You want to create a machine, and that machine you want to create is something that you want to be able to feed you at some stage where you don't have to work. That's what the money machine is. And so how do you do that? First step, spend less than you earn and invest the difference. Now question, how many of you currently are spending more than you earn? Be honest, raise your hand. How many are spending less than you earn? Raise your hand. Fantastic. Now, if you spend less than you earn, but you don't invest it, you're not going to get much value. Now, most of you say, well, I do invest a portion of that. So I might spend more, I do some new spending, but I do invest a portion of it. The second secret to this is you got to reinvest. How many of you have ever made a big hit in your investments and went, oh my God, that's so cool, and took the money and spent it on something? Raise your hand, say aye. Come on, say aye. I know you all, anybody who's invested has done this. If you got a big hit, you go, oh, this is it. Nothing wrong with that, but you got to make sure a significant amount of that you reinvest your returns so you get compounded what? Compounded growth is the most basic principle in the world. We all know it intellectually. But are you emotionally associated enough that you're really utilizing it to its maximum capability? If you don't, you're not going to get financially free. You will never get financially independent by your earnings alone. Let me tell you something. There's 3 or 4 areas of your life you don't want to go to an expert. You don't want an expert to make the decision. An expert can coach you, but you better make the decision. One is how you raise your kids. I mean, if you're going to screw up, you should be the screw up, not somebody else in this area. Because at least if you screw up, you know you gave your all. And if you screw up, you'll learn from your screw up and you can still make a difference. But letting someone else tell you how to raise your children is insane, to think that they know more than you do with your own child, with the soul that you brought into this world. They can coach you, you can learn from them, but you got to make those decisions. What's another area like that? Your physical health. If you don't learn this area because you think it's too complex, I'm going to give this decision to somebody else, that somebody else may be totally sincere and sincerely wrong. I'm not lecturing you what to do. I'm just saying whatever you're going to do, inform yourself and make the decision. Because someone else making that decision, the consequences are too great for your children, for your health. And I'll tell you another area really important, your psychology. Having someone else give you a label, tell you what to do. Same thing with, you're going to end up with some challenge in your body, same thing. And the last area, the area I'm talking about here is money. Because what most people do is they go, I don't have time for this, I don't understand this, I need to go to an expert. Because I'm not here to sell you some financial investment or plan. Because if I did that, I'd have a self-interest in the process. That's not going to serve you. And that doesn't mean someone can't sell you something. It just means I'm coming here to advise you on how to make better decisions, not tell you should do this individual thing. Because what individually you need to do changes. And by the way, even if you have the best intent, can you be wrong, yes or no? So I'm not here as a registered investment advisor. I'm not here to sell you a stock or a bond. I'm here to teach you a way of evaluating so you can make better choices more of the time. Because when you get to the financial area, when you meet somebody, what's the old phrase? When a person with experience and knowledge meets a person with money, what happens? The person with the money ends up with experience, and the person with experience ends up with the money. And even if the intent is purely positive, if this person screws up, no one is going to care about as much as your financial world as you. No one. No matter how much they care, no matter how much they're committed, because it's your life. And if they make a mistake and they're sincere, they get the learning, which will make them better in the future. But if you make the mistake and you have this concern, you can have the learning.